position as the EFCC chairman. What's next for Mr. Ibrahim Magu? Questions about who is now the boss of the anti-graft agency. And after the several weeks of the National Assembly deliberations on the 2017 budget, so much quiet on the brief, we get an update of where the 2017 budget is. And that's our focus on the program. Many thanks for joining in, everyone. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Shewa Kimbaloye in Lagos. Today, we continue the conversation on the Senate rejection of Mr. Ibrahim Magu as the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC. The big question is, why is it so important, the rejection or the nomination of Mr. Ibrahim Magu? It's simple. The Buhari government says its major agenda is to fight corruption. And this is the man that's supposed to stand at the frontier of fighting that corruption. And a big question now is, what is next for Mr. Ibrahim Magu after that rejection by the Senate? Well, the same institution that submitted Mr. Ibrahim Magu, you may wonder, is the same institution that the DSS that indicted Mr. Magu reports to. Will the president nominate another candidate for the job? What is the Constitution saying about this? Well, let's take a look at what the presidency is saying. You may be wondering that we perhaps have not heard the presidency so much about this matter. Well, Mr. Femi Adesina, the advisor to the president on media, on his Twitter handle, says the presidency will respond to the non-clearance of Mr. Magu after it receives official communication in writing from the Senate. Well, let me quickly remind you of some of those things that were said during the process of confirming Mr. Magu, after which the Senate says it won't be confirmed because of the DSS report. Take a listen once again.
Consequence to the decision of the Senate to reject the nomination of Mr. Ibrahim Magu, I therefore move that the Senate by resolution, as the highest public officer in the EFCC, to continue to take over the leadership of EFCC.
We have concluded on this matter, and I believe that our decision and confirmation process speaks for itself. And I believe that in passing any further resolution on this, we'll be saying the obvious. I think it is very clear. What we have taken decision today is that we have not confirmed Ibrahim Magu as the chairman, and as such, it goes to show that it requires for the president to renominate another candidate, and in the interim, that he cannot, of course, somebody else will have to carry on the exercise.
You heard what the Senate president says, Dr. Bukola Saraki, that another person, that's the submission of the Senate, that another person will have to carry on his duty. Is that what the Constitution says? What exactly is the president going to do now? Let's get the benefit of knowledge and the information from the presidency. Senator Ita Enang joins us from Abuja studio, the senior special assistant to the president on National Assembly matters. Many thanks for joining us on the program, Senator Ita Enang. One we wonder, you've spent some reasonable time in the National Assembly, especially in the Senate, and this kind of drama that's happened today, one we wonder, where did that report originate from, the DSS? Could you tell us what exactly is happening in the presidency as regards Mr. Magu's rejection by the Senate?
Thank you very much for inviting me, and let me apologize to you and the media because for quite a while I have declined comments on this matter throughout. I want to say that the DSS, Department of State Services, is established by law. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission is established by law. and each of them is established to do what is out in that law. And I will not be in a position to state anything different from what is in that law. And the Senate has taken its decision, and that decision is in the votes and proceedings of the Senate.
Well, what we wonder, I know that the National Security Advisor to the President, he coordinates most of the security apparatus in the nation, and as such, what we wonder whether or not the DSS also reports to him. A security report on a senior officer of the EFCC, for example, doesn't the presidency know about this kind of reports?
Well, let me plead that I be granted privilege that this is a matter of security nature, which it will not be appropriate for me to speak on, given the security implications and the question on line of reporting. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be. I just have to state only what I know and only what is right to say at this time.
If you find it difficult to speak about some of these questions that I've asked, okay, what do you know now, Sen Ita Enang, as per the rejection? You followed him there. We saw you with him at that day. What really can you tell us had happened?
Mr. Ibrahim Magu was admitted by resolution of the Senate, and it's part of my duty to walk in with him and provide some lead. And the Senate met. They posed questions to him. It was live on Nigerian Television Authority, and I know that the channel's television carried clips of it, and a great part of it, even live and later, had carried a full report on it. The candidate was interviewed and then was questioned on the security report, was questioned on matters relating to his office, and was questioned on a lot of other matters relating to his tenure. And he answered the questions as much as he could, and as much as was requested of him and was part of what was put to him. And at the end of it, we were excused, and the Senate resumed in plenary, resumed from committee of whole to plenary, and they took the decision as it were.
So with what is on the ground, what is the decision of the president on this matter?
Well, no, it's not possible. I know that, Kimbaloye, you know that it will not be appropriate for me to state the decision at this time unless the decision is made public. You know, unless it is made public, it will not be appropriate to state what the decision, because the decision is that of Mr. President. The law says that the President shall nominate a person, and it is for Mr. President to activate that provision. And it doesn't preclude anything on the part of the President, because the discretion and job is absolutely that of His Excellency, Mr. President.